Hello. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Welcome to a special edition, 4th of July edition of Thursday Night Live. Welcome. If you're new, welcome. If you're new, I do name checking at the end, so I will say good night to you by your screen name at the end, and we kind of like to get right to it because people like that, it seemed like. That's kind of how they like it. If you're welcome to check out intuitiveview.com to see anything about the channel or me or the stuff that I offer, services and that kind of stuff. And I think we'll get on with it. Happy 4th of July. I am so about 4th of July. I used to love it as a kid because we had a swimming pool, so we'd swim all day and we'd have a barbecue and we'd do fireworks and stuff. So very 70s style July 4th. But I'm happy Cassie's here. That kind of makes it special this year. We live by the waterfront, across the street from the waterfront, so we have fireworks outside our door every year. Can't complain about that. I don't know if they're doing. I think they're doing them this year, even though we have fire all around us, and we're in a heat wave right now. So that's great. But we'll see. I think they're doing them. I haven't heard they're not. So I assume so.
If they aren't doing them, then there's a lot of people who've been waiting out there since 11 a.m.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we're lucky. I mean, we've been so lucky since we've lived here that we just walk out on our porch and watch them. So, all right, everybody. Well, welcome. Happy 4th. A lot in the news right now. I want to thank the Supreme Court made Biden a king this week, which was nice of them. Maybe they like him. I don't know, but I don't know if they noticed whose name's on the door right now, but they did that. So I think that may have been a little short-sighted and premature, but we'll see. We shall see. Okay, so so our questions, and we'll be here till 7:30. So if you have a question, throw it up, and we will begin. Will Joe Biden be given credit and support for all he's done in his first presidency? Okay. All right. So I'm hearing "Here Comes the Sun." I feel like that, and I'm getting things about sunshine for some reason. So I'm interpreting that as kind of the sun shining on him, the sun coming out, things being illuminated, things being brought to light. I think in this, it's in, I'm getting this in answer to this question. So if I were for me to interpret that, I think that it means that things are going to be kind of all this he's done, all the things that he has done for the country, done as a person, done through his life. It's going to be all illuminated and made clear. And the sun, and I always think of the sunshine too as happy. So I feel like it will be a good thing. So yeah, so that's what I'm getting in answer to that question. What do your guides say about Biden and the debate? His supporters have claimed a cold, exhaustion, etc. What do your guides say? Well, I did a whole video on this, so you can watch it. You can watch the video. I did, as I sat there. I was, and Adam was there. He can testify to what I'm about to say. But I kept saying, first of all, I said Trump's energy is awful. I feel nauseous. I feel nauseous. I feel nauseous. I was getting heart palpitations. I really felt like I was going to be sick. And I said and it's kind of like when you have something like that happen, it's kind of like food poisoning, where when you get food poisoning, even though you may have eaten a bunch of stuff that day, what made you sick. It's like, what it is. You can pinpoint it. And it's like that. I knew that it was Trump's energy and sitting in it for 90 minutes. I cannot tell you, maybe if ever, or the last time I sat in his energy that long. I'll see a clip of him once in a while, but I don't sit in it ever. And I was so ill. As soon as he came out, I could see that that's something was off, basically. I think everybody could. Welcome, Allison. Alice, a new member of the club. Welcome. And so when going into his energy, I got a cold, that he was sick, but also that he was fatigued. I did get jet lag, and I know they're saying, oh, his trip was but he's 81 or whatever he is years old, but I did get jet lag, and I got a cold. I got exhaustion, extreme exhaustion, and I also got dehydration, which I talked about on the video, but I will repeat here that, my mom, when she got into her 80s, and it literally was like 80, 81, 82. If she was not hydrated, there was a marked difference in her able to communicate. And she was spry. This was back when she was still driving and stuff like that. So she was very alert and awake and very much herself. But when she was dehydrated, and as she got older, it would be more apparent. She would have problem coming up with words. She'd had that conversation thing where she couldn't keep track of the conversation. She would have or dip out of the conversation mid-sentence. She would have problems with balance. She'd have problems with being able to follow things. It was a marked difference with dehydration. So that, even though it seems like, oh, that's just an aside thing, that is a big thing at that age. And I think that, I had said I felt like the campaign should have come clean with all of it and said, and he should have said, I will take better care of myself. This is the schedule that I keep. The schedule I keep. A lot of young people couldn't keep up with that schedule, and he has to remember he's in his 80s, and I think just taking responsibility might have made people feel better. They're kind of doing this dance around it, and I'm not really sure why. But yeah, Craig, thank you. He needed to rest, and they put him through these vigorous debates, and they said, he kept laying down and trying to. It's like he should have probably just rested, and for the days before, gone over a few key points and got up there. I think he would have been okay. But this was, to me, that's what I was picking up, and I think it made a huge, huge difference. I also felt like the time of day was not his best time of day. I think Adam and I talked about that it was bedtime, past his bedtime, but I think they go to bed early and get up early. And I think that that makes a difference too. And all of those things together may not affect a 40-year-old. It just wouldn't, or a 50-year-old even, but in your 80s, it makes a big difference. So I think, he does need to have I feel a come to Jesus moment about the way he takes care of himself. And especially through this next few months, he's really got to be careful and stop being so stubborn. I feel like he's stubborn. He wants to power through things and do things he used to do, and he just cannot. He's older now, and he needs to really, really, really take care of himself. So I hope that's what he learned. I think that was the lesson for him. I hope that is what he learned. So, okay. And you can also go back and watch the video too. I did a whole video about it. How did Joe and his inner circle react post-debate with Trump? Was there an immediate panic? Were insiders shocked? Did they realize they overcoached him? Yeah, I did not look at his inner circle. So and I'm just gonna kind of what I do. I don't know what you call it, but I kind of do a sweep of the energy of just around him. So I'm not gonna move into Kamala Harris and then move into, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna kind of do a yeah, just kind of what I would say, kind of like going the outer perimeters of what was happening after the debate. So. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of surprise uh, and worried about him, because I feel like they didn't really understand. They didn't fully understand what was happening. So they even thought, is this like some kind of episode, like he's having an episode or something? And I feel like this is more in, like I'm more in the moment, but I feel like afterwards it is sort of like powwow coming together of how do we manage this. There, it's very interesting because I don't feel like, I feel like they all knew how bad it was, but I feel like they're so conditioned to just go into solve the problem mode that there wasn't a lot of like panic, or they didn't stay in that energy long at all. If there was that panic or that, oh my gosh, what's happening, or what are we going to do, I don't feel any of that. I feel more like this is going badly, and then moving right into, what do we say, what do we tell the press, what do we tell people, where do we go, what's the next thing we do. It feels almost like it just going into problem solving mode. There isn't a lot of like feelings about it, which is kind of weird, but I feel like it's just the mode they operate in. Their training and the way they're made to think, the type of people they are too. They're this is what they do. So I feel like that's the mode they went into. So but I do feel, because I'm reading the question again, making sure I'm answering the questions, because there's a few here. I do feel like there was some shock and some kind of like, what's happening, like thinking, is there something more happening here? And then I feel like kind of a relief as to like, no, I think he's just tired, or remembering, oh, he's sick. Da, da, da. I think they understood what could be happening. He was just overextended, and he was not able to power through. The other thing I don't feel a lot of is like finger pointing, like blaming, like you overcoached him, or I told you he should be resting, or it's very it's very cohesive, and very much like, this beta is a disaster. Okay, now what are we going to do? That's the two modes, I feel like, so there wasn't a lot of in his, and I'm looking at his inner circle, right, the inner team. There wasn't a lot of hand wringing and stuff like that. It just felt like, boom, what are we going to do? And then it was like directing people what to do, where to, how to maneuver this, and how to damage control, basically. So yeah, so that's what I got. They're pros, basically, right? They're pros at what they do. So that, I think it showed it in that. And whether they handled it well or not, I people can debate that, but that's what I'm getting. It's like, it was just this mode to this mode, very quickly. A lot of Biden supporters, Morning Joe, The Bulwark, Tim Miller, are also calling for him to step down in the wake of his first debate with Trump. Will he? Okay, so that's the question of the day, right? Will he step down? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to. I'll say this though also, is that I feel like, I said this on my video, he has a healthy ego, right? He's a politician, so he's a healthy ego for sure. But he's not egomaniacal. He's not an egomaniac. He's not, uh, self-absorbed in the way that other politicians might be. If he really does not think he can win, if he really does feel like he's fading in some way and he's not going to be able to get us to the finish line, I feel he will drop out. But if he feels he can do it, he'll stay in. And it really will be that. He's not going to stay in, I don't believe, for selfish reasons. He'll stay in because he thinks he can do it. And if he thinks he can't, he'll get out of the way. He knows the stakes. He knows what's going on here. He knows. The only thing I will say is that he comes across as very stubborn. And and again, you don't get through the life he's had without being a little stubborn and steadfast and hard-headed sometimes, So that's the only thing, is that there might be some stubbornness in him that will need to be, he'll need to deal with that if it gets in the way. But I really do feel like he will step down if he really doesn't think he can do it. Right now, I feel like no. I feel like he's like, I'm doing this. I can do it. I can do it. It doesn't feel like he's going to step down. And to be honest, I feel like once it looks like once it looks like it was a one-off, which I believe that's where this is going, or at least that's what I'm picking up as I'm like feeling this, people will get on board. They'll get on board. They will. I don't feel like I feel like the convention's going to be crazy. I feel like both conventions are going to kind of be a little nutty. But I do feel like the Democrats will come together. I think they know being the worst thing we can do is be divided. It's early enough that I think they feel like they can ask these questions and knock this around a little bit. And I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to talk about these things. And it's healthy too, because, if you go to the right, yes, they fall in line, but what are they falling in line behind? And what are they, they gaslight each other. It's the craziest thing. But I feel like when the Democrats are having these conversations, I don't think it's a sign of weakness. I really do feel like it's a sign of strength, that we can talk about these things just like you would in a family. Something upsets the family and the family talks about it and the family yells and screams and then they all come together and hug. And that's what we're doing right now. We know what we're in. Like, we don't have any illusions about that. So I feel like there's this moment of panic and people are kind of, thinking, oh, should he stay in or should, once the decision is made and everything is kind of decided, people will come together. That's what I'm feeling. So, but this is, I think it's annoying at this time and to have this out in the open, but I do think it's healthy in a democracy. And I think it's early enough that it's good we're asking these questions now and not in September or October, right? So, and I do believe that it will all come together either way. But right now, I feel like he feels like he can do it, and he feels like he's gonna stay in. Okay, and I think he will drop out if he really feels like he can't do it. Trump seemed far sharper, at least initially during the debate, than he normally does at the Battery Shark rallies. Craig Dixon asked whether Ronnie Jackson, aka Johnson, gave Trump. Well, I don't think he can. Does he? He can't practice anymore, right? He loses medical license. But I
don't think that ever mattered to him, given
okay.
the pill mill he was running at the White House, apparently. I think that's the least of his worries. If he can access it, he will.
Right.
He was demoted in the military. He was knocked down a grade from like being admiral because of that. But I think he's still got his doctor's license. Which doctor's license?
Right. Okay. All right. And that's my husband, Adam. For those of you who don't know, my hairdresser thought it was just a guy in the garage or just a guy that I knew.
I'm just a guy in the garage who likes
She's
Batman.
Like, how
did
you meet your friend? And I was like, my friend. And she's like, the the one with all the electronics. And I'm like, oh, that's my husband.
I like that better than the people who asked, "Is that your dad?"
No, that was just that was a wonky video, Adam. And you were too far away. All they could see was gray hair, so they didn't know. They didn't know. They can see how young you are at this point. But they know you're not my dad. Okay. Drug cocktail, and this is all for entertainment purposes only. From the start of this video to the end of this video, it's all for entertainment purposes only. I actually feel like a drug cocktail is the perfect way to put it. Because I was thinking it feels like a little bit of this and a little bit of this. It kind of feels like a combination of I just heard steroid. There's some kind of steroid involved here. It could be stuff he's just already on. There could be other health stuff that he has stuff, but I feel like there's something that was like kind of like sharpened his focus, sharpened his focus in some way. So I'm thinking of like Adderall or something like that. But I'm also feeling like something to like calm his nerves as well. So it is almost like a cocktail of some kind. So yeah, I mean, of course, like everything, it's either a projection or a confession, whatever they're accusing the other side of, whether it goes to cheating or whether it goes to drugs or whether it goes to lying, it's all, yeah. But that's what I'm picking up is, and like I said, I don't know if these are things he's already on. And maybe it's just a little more of this and a little more of this. But I even heard steroids. So there's a steroid involved here. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. So there is something. Yeah, I mean, yes. I guess the answer is yes. But I also don't feel like it was. I feel like this is a regular thing. Let me just put it that way. I don't feel like it was like this just for the debate. I don't feel like it was that. But I feel like it was like a little more of this and a little more of this for this. Yeah, that's what I got. Dan Artist Painter said some readers are picking up something bad happening to Trump. Yeah, I picked up something at the end of July that I felt like might have been a medical something, or end of July, maybe early August. And it feels like a health thing. Um, And I just heard a combination. So I think it's going to be a combination of maybe the schedule he's keeping with the drug cocktail he's taking with just his poor health. It's a combination of things that kind of come together. And it does feel like we know about it. Like it doesn't see it. Sometimes it will feel like we may not even hear about it. This feels like we know about it. Like everybody knows about it. So, and I feel like it's a I'm seeing like the Red Cross sign. So I'm wondering if it's a trip to the hospital. Um, I don't really feel like it's at an event, but I feel like it might be right after an event. Yeah, it could be a golf thing. Could be like after a golf event or something. Um, and it could be like, he's out in the sun all day. It's like a combination of the heat and the da-da-da and the da-da-da, but ambulance involved. Yeah, Pegasus, it could be something like that. It's a new symbol for me, that Red Cross. But the Red Cross to me seems like, yeah, like a emergency. The doctors involved, medical help involved in it. But it seems serious enough that it's showing up. And so, but to me, it feels like kind of end of July, early August, around that time frame. Timing's weird, as we know, but for some reason, it does feel like summertime. It feels like summer. So, but to me, it's like the middle to end of summer around there. So, yeah, that's what I'm getting though. Yeah, I didn't ask. I should have asked when I talked to Andre. I should have asked about his health chart. He always says like his health chart is awful, awful. So, but I should have asked about his health chart in like July. Maybe we'll have him back, around, you know, at some point to talk about that kind of what his health looks like maybe through the rest of the summer into fall. But I assume he'll say it's awful. Whenever I ask him, he's like, "Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible." So, okay. It was reported that for several days, a Russian diplomatic plane was parked next to Trump's plane. This seems suspicious. Was it coinkydink? I'm seeing the planes next to each other, and I'm seeing like what looks to me is like a cord going between. So there's some kind of link of communication or communication connection or something about this. I'm asking when I'm sitting here in silence, I'm actually asking like telepathic questions. So just so you know, I'm not just like and then I'm waiting. So that's why when I sit, just in case if you're wondering what is she doing, that and I'm scribbling. I'm just scribbling like that to get focused. Um, Not sure what this is. Weird, 'cause I'm getting a song that it's about women actually, but it's like a little bit of da, da, in my da, little bit of da, 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 da. So what I think this is, and this is a song and this is a lot of times, if you get songs that you haven't heard in 20 years, it's a message. So just so you know, but they're trying to tell me something with this. And I feel like, so maybe it's kind of like they were talking about a little bit of everything, a little bit of a little bit of Ukraine, a little bit of, financial help, a little bit of oligarchy stuff, a little bit of giving them, yeah, on my mind. Exactly. And so it may be like just talking about that. It's a little bit of a lot of different things that they were talking about. Maybe not one major thing, like just the election or just the Ukraine. It was like a little bit of several topics were touched on. Maybe that's what it is. Why that song? I don't know. Don't know. So, what is that song called, Adam?
Mambo Number 5 by Lou Bega. It's a very catchy song.
It is a big edgy song.
His whole album kind of is pretty much the same thing, but not nearly as catchy.
Well, in Mambo Number 5 too, it's like it's a dance, right? It's the and maybe the coordination of the planes and the conversations that took place. Maybe it was just this dance that they do, that they're doing again. So yeah, interesting.
A little bit of Putin in my life.
Exactly. Exactly. We know that Alito and Thomas are corrupt. Yes. Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and Barrett were selected by Trump. But why did Roberts sign the immunity for president's decision? Is he corrupted too? What's his energy? Okay, Roberts. He feels, I mean, I'm not going to get into these men, but he feels picked on, angry. I feel it was a bit of spite, actually. I feel like he's a bit angry. He feels like his court is being targeted. He's being, he feels like he's being smeared, that kind of thing. I actually don't feel like he's like corrupt in the same way as some of the other justices. I feel like he's a little more straight arrow in that way, but I feel like he is very defensive. He's very angry. He feels picked on. He feels like they're smearing his court. And these are, he does have certain like viewpoints that he's always had. And I feel like this may be one of them, that the president and the Supreme Court, right? They gave themselves a lot of power as well. It should have, they just know better. They know better. The rest of us are stupid and they know better. There is this arrogance that does carry through with these people, in that, we're the educated ones. We know better. You guys don't know. You're just the peons working and slaving away, and we're up here high on the hill, and we are the ones to make these decisions. It's a very elitist, class-based way of looking at the world, and that's just the way that it is. I hate to say that. I don't want to say that, I wish I didn't have to say that. I wish I could, we're seeing something different. But it is like, we'll take it from here, little ones. You don't need to worry about, uh, this stuff, these big things, these big ideas and concepts shouldn't be in the hands of the peons. It should be in our hands. We know better. That is the attitude. And so things that support that attitude, those are the things that they do. Anything like they've really given themselves, especially, a lot of power. And I'll wait till see if these questions come up. But I was getting a few things about that today. So I will. But we may have questions that are asking more about the Supreme Court and that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's what I got. Craig Dixon asked the follow-up, are the conservative judges feeling the backlash? Do they care? I think the only thing they care, for some reason, Amy Comey Barrett and Gorsuch are being highlighted a little, so they may be a little bit different than the other ones, but a little more worried about what people think and about the backlash that may come and that kind of thing. They are highlighted for me, so I don't know if they're just a little bit more sensitive to that or care more or what that is. But I feel like for the most part, how do I put this? They feel untouchable. It doesn't matter what you think. This is what we're doing. It doesn't matter. They really do feel like they feel untouchable. And I also feel like they don't like the world today. They don't like what it looks like. They don't, and they feel like we have it in our power to change this, to make things different, to make it look different, to make it to make the changes we want to see. Why don't we do it? Not that they had a power, but it's this world view. It's the view of the world that's always comes across as so weird to me, because it really is like putting us back in time. And you can try, and it may back us up a little. I mean, they definitely are doing that with some of these decisions, are backing us up, but it's not going to last. It's not going to. I've talked about this before, right? The impulse of the universe is to expand. It's to evolve. We see evolution all around us. That's what we do. And so they can try to put things back in a toothpaste tube, but they're not going to. They'll get a little back in. They're not going to get it all back in. We're going to evolve. We're going to evolve, and they might be able to hold it up for a little bit with the power they have, the power they hold. Clearly, too much power they have been given. But as far as this question, Craig, that those two are highlighted for me, so they may be a little worried or feel it more than the other ones. The other ones, I just feel it is they have a world view where they really do believe they are doing God's work, and they are doing what they feel is, whether we believe it or not, it's the best thing for the country. It's the best thing for everybody. Just trust them. That's the feeling. They know what's best. They have the biggest brains. They're the smartest people in the country, and they know what's best. That's the feeling. So, yeah. So that's what I got. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Just quoting him. Okay. Yes. Thank you. And it's true. It's also but that is exactly right. it's time, right? And our egos, we want to see it, right? We want to be here, we want to see it. And when we see things like this, it's like, why are we going backwards? Why don't we just go forwards? So our egos, get involved, because we don't want people to be hurt, and we want to see the changes, and we want to see the us grow and expand in ways that will help everybody. But the truth is that these things take a long time, and they can take longer than we want them to. But I just think while you're here, do as much as you can. I've seen some amazing things happen, and I'm sure I will be surprised in the next 10 years as to what happens. There will be a pendulum swinging back the other way. Just wait. Particularly in these days, because I think we've talked about, and how I've gotten messages about how time is different now. And part of why time is so, in some ways, so fast moving is partly because of our technology now. It moves differently. We move through cycles faster. Everything is everything is moving at a different clip. And so things can be slowed, like I said, but it's gonna keep going. I keep getting messages like that time is different now. And so they can try to do these things. And whereas, 100 years ago, it may have really been a long, long stretch of time before we saw a change back to what it was, or a change forward. It's not like that anymore. Things are moving more quickly. So they can try this nonsense, but the pendulum's going to swing back. Just wait and see. It really will. Amy Comey Barrett, aka Tradwife, Gillian's handmaid, yes, disagreed about the ability to introduce evidence against POTUS. Is she troubled at all by the immunity decision? Seems not so much. Evidence against POTUS. Immunity decision. It's interesting. She kind of feels what the other women feel sometimes. I feel like she feels a little pushed aside, a little bit used. As we go along with this, you may find her more pushing back in different ways, because I feel like she feels kind of a little used and kind of pushed in a corner. And I feel like it is a woman thing. I feel like it is. She has some very odd. She is odd, I have to say. She has some weird views of the world again. And the way that they really believe they know what is best for everybody is really annoying. When I go into their energy, and there's that energy of very, very, I guess arrogant is the only way I can think to explain that. But it is like patting us on the head and like, well, we know what's best. You don't need to worry about things like rights and things like that. Don't worry about that. We'll take care of everything. It's creepy in a way. And every time I look at these people, whether it's her, whether it's them, this comes across. It comes out. It comes across again, and I don't like it. And I get the same thing with like Leonard Leo and the Heritage Foundation. It is like an elite cult, or an elite men's club or something. It has a really yucky feel. I can't quite explain, and I don't feel like people really understand how like how the some of the beliefs are very entrenched. They really do believe this stuff. It's not like we're going along just to get something out of it. No, they really believe this stuff. That's why it feels very it feels yucky. It feels like a cultish, or I guess religion. I guess really like a deep religious zealotry or something. But it has a really icky feel to it. I don't like it. That's just an aside from this. But that's what I'm getting. I feel like, so I feel like you might see her stepping out and being more of an outlier as time goes on. Maybe you won't, but at least behind closed doors, she may be more argumentative, more getting more frustrated with some of this stuff. Because I feel like in this particular decision, like the immunity stuff, she's not a Trump fan. Let me just put it that way. I don't get her as being kind of like, but I feel like it's like that he's the tool they have right now. Do you know what I mean? So I don't feel like she actually thinks he's great and even thinks he should really be the person leading this charge. But it's kind of like, well, but he's the one, he's it right now. What else can we do? So no enthusiasm really, but kind of just like, well, I guess this is what we have to do. Or this is the way it is, that kind of thing. But you may see her being a little more vocal. We may not hear it in the public, but at least behind closed doors, pushing back more and being more, aware of her own voice in this. So. Yeah. A few questioners have specifically asked, do you see Trump dropping out? Well, I never saw him getting in. So I really, early, I was like, I didn't, because it was him and DeSantis. And I'm like, I don't see either one of them. I feel more like and I had described it as like a Pence-like energy and a Romney-ish, but clearly it was Nikki Haley. And I think that was yet another opportunity that they had to get rid of this guy. Like I said, all of this may not be our lesson to learn. Clearly, they are the ones that need to make this call and be done with this. And as long as they don't, they're going to suffer for this. We will have to suffer along with them, unfortunately. But this may be their lesson to learn, that they've got to do this. They've got to put on their big boy pants, as they say, and get rid of this guy because he's bad news. As we all know, everybody knows it, and even they know it. They just won't say it. So, but anyway, so do you see Trump dropping out? So I don't think so, but I'm seeing something with the convention. There's something at the convention. There may even be some fighting at the convention. It feels very, of course, the testosterone, right? And that, trying to outman each other, scream the loudest and be the most manly. I'm sure it's going to be a night of anger and rage, but it feels like there's something ruckus, something that happens at the convention. I don't know why this is coming up for that question. maybe at the convention, because my guys have constantly said there's going to be a lot that happens between, and boy, has it been true, especially the last few weeks, right? There's going to be a lot that happens between, a couple of months ago and November. A lot of things that we can't foresee right now, or that we can't even imagine right now. But there's going to be some things that happen that are kind of key events. And I feel like something happens at the convention. I'm not sure what it is. It feels like chaos. It feels like chaos. And it's the Republican convention. It's not the Democratic convention. It's the Republican convention, because it's coming up because of this question. It doesn't feel good. It feels like chaos. And some of it almost feels like I can't believe what I'm seeing, that kind of thing. Almost like a January 6th feel, but like I can't believe what I'm seeing, that kind of thing. Almost like a disbelief. So we'll see what this is. Maybe it's just they're all nuts and we can't believe what we're seeing. But it feels very like chaotic energy, very chaos oriented. So I know I wish I could give you more about this, but that's what's coming up when you're asking that question. So I don't see him dropping out right now. Like I said, I see something with his health coming up. So it's absolutely a possibility, but when you ask that question, up came that really chaotic convention scene that I keep getting. Yeah. Project 2025 is pretty scary, but the conservatives behind it seem to be coming out into the sunlight and advocating for it. Do they think they've locked up the November election? Yeah. Let me just put that. And, this in my 2024 predictions at the very beginning, it talks about it's going to become very, very clear to everybody, not just to what these two factions are about. That one is about kind of coming together and cooperation, helping one another, helping with climate change, doing these kind of positive things. And there's going to be this other faction that's about, division and, meanness and blame and marginalizing people. And it's going to be very, very obvious. There's going to be nobody confused as to what each stands for. And I think this is part of that, which is them coming out into the sunlight saying, and this is our plan. Isn't it amazing? But it is that. It's adding to that. So there's no confusion as to what these people are about. Let me look at this. They want us to believe they do. I don't think they do, actually. I think they want us to think they do. It's an intimidation tactic. It's psychological. It reminds me kind of is the wrestling, Adam, WWE, or is that what it's called?
Why would you ask me that? But yes.
Yes. It's to psych us out. It's to make us think, oh, it's already sewed up. Don't even bother voting because here's our plan and we're going to do this. And it's psychological. Yeah, llama, it kind of is like the difference between the 3D and 5D vibration. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're about to choose, right? We're about to choose. So yeah, so have they locked it up? No, they haven't. Are they trying to make us think they've locked it up? Yes, they are. So it's psychological. It's a way of making us feel intimidated, making us feel like there's no hope, right? We know that that's a thing that dictators do and fascists do, is try to make you think there's no hope, so just give up. I believe, and maybe you guys do too, that the whole killing of Navalny, that's what that was about. It's about killing hope. You know, that's a part of their playbook. So it's kind of playing into that. So yeah, so that's what I got. So no, it's not sewn up, but they're trying to make us believe it is. And maybe some of them believe it is, you know, maybe, but I think when I was talking to Andre recently, we were talking about an overconfident Trump is the worst thing for Trump. And right now he is so overly confident. He thinks everything's coming up roses. And it's like, they just gave Joe Biden the powers of a king. He's not in there yet. So they are definitely counting their chickens before they're hatched. And they're all getting a little overconfident. And Trump, I think, is really, you know, really believing his own press, basically. Believing the yes men around him. So, and that's not good for him especially. We've seen how that goes down, how that works out. So yeah.
Don't underestimate the power of positive thinking.
Oh, I know. Yes,
that Trump is all about.
Yeah, he's so positive. He's such a positive person. It's exactly what I think of when I see him, is how positive he is. Yes, a golden light around him. He's so positive. I mean, yeah, he talks about but he doesn't get it. It's like he doesn't understand how it actually works. He doesn't understand, like, he's just a bully, and he thinks that, you know, bugging people and bullying people, that's positive thinking. That's just like, I'm going to make this happen somehow, is the same as positive thinking. He misses the point completely. And so, yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. Is Jack Smith planning on pushing for an evidentiary hearing as a workaround for Cannon's block and tackling and okay? So if you remember last Thursday Night Live, we were talking about the kind of derailing of some of these things. And then all of a sudden I was seeing a hearing, or it looked similar to like the January 6th thing, because there was just all this information coming out, just like information. And I felt like the country was watching it. I felt like it was on TV, like we were all seeing it. And it was just like information. And once again, I felt like there was all these people there. A couple of years before the January 6th thing happened, I saw it, and I couldn't make heads or tail of it, because it didn't make any sense. And of course, out of context, it doesn't make any sense. But it was like Dorothy, when she wakes up, it was like Jared was there, Bill Barr was there, like testifying, like talking. All these different characters were there, and I could not figure it out. And I said it had the feel of almost like a Nuremberg trial, or like some kind of big trial, but I didn't understand it. And then fast forward a couple of years, and there we were at January 6th, and then the January 6th thing happened. So, and as soon as I saw Bill Barr, I'm like, that's exactly what I saw. There were like actual pictures that I saw from that. As they happened, I would remember, oh, I saw this, I saw that. And I'm sure it was annoying to Adam and probably Cassie too, but it's weird when that happens. With this, I'm seeing a televised thing. it's on TV. So either we're seeing the clips of it on TV or we're seeing whatever, maybe a wrap up. But to me, it feels like we're watching it, like live watching it. And I feel like we're seeing witnesses and just the like a roll of information, just information, almost like so much we can't believe all the stuff. And to me, it also feels a little like shockwaves through the country, just shocking. So that's what I got. So yes, I mean, that's when I realized this kind of a thing existed. They were actually, somebody brought it up after the debate, and I was like, I think that's what I was seeing, because that's what it felt. It didn't feel like a trial, really. It felt like just like more like a hearing, or more like the January 6th thing, where it's just lots of people, lots of talking, lots of information, witnesses, that kind of stuff. And shocking, shocking. And again, just information. And it goes along again with that beginning thing I was talking about at the beginning of the 2024 predictions, where it talks about things being made clear. So you know exactly what you are voting for when you go and vote. There's going to be no nuance or middle ground or gray. It's going to be this and this. And everybody will know what each is doing. It's not going to be hidden. And in a way, when I was talking to Cassie about this, in a way it would be scarier if they were saying something like, "Oh no, we're not going to do that. No, we're going to make sure everyone's taken care of, and we're going to keep everyone's, we're going to make sure people can vote. We're not going to do anything to immigrants." So they're saying it out loud, right? We know it, and so we know exactly what's going on and what's going to happen. It would be a little scarier for the Democrats if they were pretending to be what they're not, but they're not. They're coming right out and saying it. They're coming right out and being it. So, and we'll find out who our country is. Who are we? What do we believe in? We're going to decide. I have faith. I really do. I have faith that we're gonna do the right thing. I really do. Okay, a couple more. There was a release of documents connected to Epstein. One disturbing accusation is that Trump assaulted a 13-year-old girl. Will this revived claim negatively impact the Trump outside? I've always, again, this is for entertainment purposes only, but I always got that was a real thing. Okay, just saying, I have always gotten that. It's weird. I always saw something old coming back for him. This may be it. And it could just be, it comes out, that people know, more people know about it and actually believe it happened. It may not be like a trial or something like that, but it does feel like this is something. Intimidate. So there might be some intimidation for like the person to actually come out, or something about intimidating. But I feel like it does get some traction. It does get some I do feel like it might come back a bit as a bigger thing than we think right now. Yeah, so this may come back. Like I said, I've always seen something old like coming back for him.
Well, the case was was made several times, or like 3 times, and was retracted. Not because it wasn't true, just because there was so much pressure to basically withdraw.
That's exactly what I'm
Trump
feeling.
is very good at doing a full court press with his lawyers to either bribe you, like pay you off, or basically pressure you and set his MAGA minions on you. So it's a very scary thing. Even her name is not, that's not actually her name. She's featured as Jane Doe in the court case against Epstein, and then she is Kathleen, I think it is, or in the other, but those aren't her names. So obviously.
And there were parts of her transcript online for a while. I don't know if it's still there. It's so him. The stuff she says, he says, the stuff he does. I mean, it's so him. And so, but I immediately felt this is a real, this happened. For entertainment purposes only. I have no personal knowledge of this at all. But yeah, but I do feel like this may be a bigger thing than they think it will be. I think they think they've got it. They've got her pretty well cowed. They've got this under control, but I think this may come back in a bigger way than they think.
So one thing, yes, the actual document and all the heinous description is being revived right now, and you can find it on places like Reddit. And a couple of people like Karen pointed out that the, let's say, alleged victim was actually 13 at the time, and Ivanka was 13 at the time. And we know that he's talked about his daughter in ways that, well, I would never talk about Cassie that way.
Right. Inappropriate, let's just say.
Very strange ways of referring to your daughter, and at the same time, so
yes, it all fits. He's gross, and it all fits absolutely. And there was a time when he was just the host of The Apprentice. You might think, oh, that could not possibly be true. Now that he's been found liable for rape, I think people are rethinking this kind of stuff and thinking, no, this absolutely could be true. And they know the story of Epstein. So now they think, oh, and they were friends. So this absolutely could be true. So it just may be the context in which it's coming back in, right? It's different now.
Surely it's all coincidence that we have video of him with Epstein dancing, watching young girls, and his name being mentioned like at least 7 times on flight logs to Lolita Island. He's just he was in deep cover. He was exposing the pedophiles.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. So this is so I do think this will come back in a bigger way than it seems like. And it's partly just the context we have now of him as a person. When it maybe came out, this was when his first year of the presidency, I think is when I first heard.
Yeah,
and we didn't fully understand him. Yeah. I think we know a lot more now.
We know too much.
We know too much. We definitely know too much.
So the last question I was looking it up, and it was from Deb. So I'll post it, but I didn't find a ton of information on it, except as Trump came into power. But I'll just ask it, and you can ask your guy.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were just going to ask me. Okay. Is MAGA about making eugenics great again? Does that mean like cleaning up the gene pool, or cleaning up making it white again? Is that what that means? Or what?
I'm not sure. Yeah, but I mean, obviously eugenics is all about, selecting the right or the white races, for selection and getting rid. When you hear like the Project 2025 and their ideas of mass, we're going to basically eject masses of people from America who don't belong here. I mean, maybe that all fits into that. It's so freaking scary, honestly, that it doesn't really even bear thinking about.
Okay, well, let me just ask this question and see what I get, okay? Because I think we all kind of know. Thank you, Aries Fry, and thank you anyone else who donated. I really appreciate that. You see, Allison, thank you. You're a new member. Welcome. We have our club. Yes, hit any join button on any video, and you can join. You can go to www.intuitiveview.com and read about the club, see what it's all about. Thank you, Wentanari, so much. Thank you, Queenie the Genie, and thank you, Aries. Hey, thank you so much. Okay, so let's see. I feel like this is what the abortion thing is about as well, in some way. Are there like less like white kids being born right now, or are there less white kids being born right now?
That's actually around the world. I mean, it's a thing with Russia, where Russia, although everyone born in Russia is like a white baby, their birth rate is down. Everywhere in the West, the birth rate is down. It's not down.
Because it feels almost like this forced birth idea is actually a thing. I don't know if it's in Project 2025, but I do feel like, yeah, there's something behind this. Something I almost feel like I don't quite understand, or I don't quite get how this is going to happen. But I do feel like that's why, is because there's not. It's like they need more white kids being born. Is kind of what it feels like. So I don't know if this goes into things like, I don't know, test tube babies, or I don't know, or like things done in labs and cloning and things like that. It could get weird. I mean, I don't know. They're weird. So, but it does feel like this is it's like part of the plan.
It's not a good plan.
No, probably not a good plan.
Well, and you're familiar with like the replacement theory, right? They believe
yeah, of course. Yeah, I think people are
being replaced by a brown person, and so we're slowly being like bred out in the world. It's so crazy.
It's so fear-based. It's so just based in fear. They're such a fearful bunch, scared of being replaced or erased or whatever. It's nonsense. It's just nonsense. They're fearful. They're fearful of change is all it is. They're trying to stop it, slow it up, back it up. You can't stop the beat. Na 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 na. You can't stop the natural impulse of the universe. You can't. You can try, but no party, no person, no country, you can't stop it. It's going to happen. Get over it. Get over it. Get over it. Because not only now is the United States, we're a melting pot. The world is. Do you not watch 90 Day Fiance? People are meeting people on.
Probably not as much as us, Kim.
And moving to their countries and marrying them. It's going to be like that. I mean, that they just need to get over it.
Well, this is the reaction against that, right?
They are, but you can't. It's happening. Yeah. The internet's here. It's all going on, and they're not going to stop it. So
I hope it's a last death rattle, and not like a new, a revolution as the Project 2025 is. I hope that we look at Project 2025 eventually, and we're all like, oh, that was cute. They wanted to reinstitute the Third Reich, the 1,000-year Reich, but it failed before it even got started. Ironically, it was aborted.
And nobody's for this, right? Because most people now have mixed race grandchildren mixed races in their family. They have, or they have other races in their family. They have been to other countries, because now we can travel all over the place and go all over the place. And you realize, oh, the people in Japan are just like us in so many ways. They love their family, and there's this smalling up of the world. You know, it's just not, it's not a popular way to look at things. It just isn't. It isn't, you know. And the places that do think this way are dying. They're dying out. They're not raising up. It's not like Russia's having a, you know, everybody wants to go to Russia and be Russian right now. No, it's dying out. North Korea, dying out. It's not flourishing. So these are not sustainable, popular ideas. They're just not. And everybody has a gay person in their family, or knows someone who's gay, or works with someone who's gay. It's already here. They need to give up and stop being ridiculous, but they've got to give it one last go, because
get back in the closet.
Exactly. It's like, what? So yeah, it's not happening. So I declare it not happening. So there you go. And they just made Joe Biden a king. So, you know, he can do what he wants. I think that was a little bit premature. I think they're doing a lot of, the timing of a lot of this stuff is off. You know, had they done it in September or October or something like that. But they're doing it. It's like when they tried to close down the post offices and rip out, you know, at the last election, it was too early. We worked our way around it because they did it too early. And when you're not connected to the divine, when you're like out of sync, you start making mistakes like this. Timing is off, and stuff doesn't quite work out, and you don't quite get it together because it's not supported in a way that is long-term sustainable. It's just not. They can try to force it. That's fine. They can try to do that, which they are trying to do. But, you know, usually that stuff is very short-lived, and it doesn't work out. So.
Yeah. If you go with the flow of water, you'll always win. If you try to keep like blocking the water, eventually the water overwhelms you, right? They're going against the flow of history. So they're on the wrong side of history, but they are. Absolutely. I did throw up a quick poll. 986 people voted just about Biden. So 95% of people say sticking with Biden.
Yeah.
2% we're looking at another Democratic option, and 1% Kamala.
They love him. They really do. I think they're underestimating how much regular people really like him. So as long as he is, I think somebody said, if he was a head in a jar, I think it might have been Bill Maher. Even if he's a head in a jar, I will vote for Joe Biden. So, you know, I think as long as he's okay, you know, I think as long as he's like, you know, I had a bad night and he can come back. He is the comeback kid. We will, or the comeback grandpa. We will be okay. Be all right. And if we don't, we've got a great vice president too. So we're surrounded by talent really in the Democratic Party. So we'll be good. We will be good no matter what. Thanks, Adam. Thank you, everybody. Happy 4th of July. I will go ahead and name check. And you just had a window into our discussions we have sitting on our couch. We're both always in agreement with each other, but we still have these discussions. Yelling at each other. Why is this rah? Okay. Okay. Gigi by the Sea. Alden Pond. Thank you so much. And thank you, greeters. Thank you, everybody that jumps in. You guys are rock stars. I always tell you that. Thank you, Adam. And yeah, thank you, everybody that just kind of jumps in and helps. It's so helpful. And I know Adam appreciates it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Alden Pond, Elizabeth, Don Broadbent, Jamie Johnson, Hugger Greeter, that's one of our readers, Christine VR, Deb Z, Michelle Holt, Carol Michael, Sleuth Jill, Sharon Ann, Innocent Potato, Artist Liz, Beverly Johnson, Miss Charlotte, Michelle Hott, Susan Bame, Hugger Greeter again, Cat's Cauldron, Chris Wickens, Lisa Berry Essa, Aries Fire, Lama Bryant, Colleen O'Brien, welcome and thank you. And good night. Thanks for hanging out. Patty Powers, Arlene Forney. I'm seeing some new people here. So that's awesome. Angela Wyborn, Jay Haynes, Deanne DFL Rocks, Mia G, Michelle Hott, Karen Conroy, Artist Liz, thank you. Foxy Roxy, Carol Gallagher, thank you so much. Janet Rainbows and Moonbeams, thanks so much. Pegasus, Jane, Kimmy G, Lisa Berriesa, Christine VR. I'm gonna come in. Need to come in, Luca? Susan Bame, Sweetie Darling Lulu, Lily Rose, Deb C, May K, Sandra Chibral. Thanks so much. Patty Powers, Liz L, Adam, UB Jr., Angela Wyborn, Allison L, Indivisible San Francisco, Annie Hamlet, Roxanne Clement, thank you so much. Lucretia Valdez, Miss Charlotte, David Meckham, Melissa A.H. Have a great night, everybody. Craig Dixon. Okay, Pat Olson, Colleen O'Brien, Lynn LeGlaire, thanks so much. Enjoy the fireworks too. LLC, Delphine Ross, Kat M, Kathy P, Linda Sherrill, Kay Reynolds, Karen Conroy. Welcome. Thank you so much, and thank you for your help tonight. Nancy the Water Chick, thank you. Sharon Ann, Serafina M, Gina Hall, Carol Lamb, Music RN Diana, Jennifer Peterson, thank you so much. Old Rooster, how is Cassie? She's doing better. She's doing better. She's kind of up and down. You know, she has good days and bad days. We had a string of bad days, but got to the doctor. She's doing better. Thank you for asking. Prayers for Cassie when you think about it. If you think about it, just that her health will be good. Chris Queen, Noelle Douglas, Perry Griffith, nice to see you. Christine VR, Kathy P, JK Inman, JK Inman, Moon Compass, Lisa Ashton, Sharon Ann, Susan Ailes, Sue Ellen Hunter, Suzanne Stevens, Linda Sherrill, Innocent Espedo, Steph S, Aries Fire, Prince Charming's mom, Siddelicious, Veronica Gonzalez. Oh, good. Oh, thanks, Craig. Thanks so much for Cassie's interview with us. Thank you so much. Okay. Martisa Gartagina. Thank you. Have a good weekend, you too. Celtic Crone. Welcome and thank you. Minuet or Menu Minette. We're in Ukraine. Sweetie Darling Lulu, Serafina M, Ethereal Material, Don Broadbent, Cheryl Nash McIsaac, Oh, Nancy Leno, thank you so much. That's so nice. I didn't see your super sticker. Thank you so much. She's a knitter. Thanks so much, everybody. I dissent. Love that. Susan Bain. Tammy W. Thanks so much for hanging out. Given Wings, thank you so much. Frida Stinger. Cynthia Rosenbaum, thank you so much for hanging out. Oakland CA girl. Hey, we're right by Oakland. We have friends that live and work there. So yes. Serenity Springs. Laura Arzola, thank you. And Aries Fire. Okay, thanks everybody. Oh, you changed from Firefly. Okay. There was another fly. Firefly. It's like Adam was just saying there on a show he likes to go on. There was another Adam. And they're always so happy to see me, but then they think I'm the other Adam. So he had to change his because he felt bad. They were wanting the other Adam, so he changed his name. Enjoy Galti and all right. Okay, thanks everybody. Look, it didn't come in. Sorry about that. All right. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a good weekend. Have a great 4th. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.